just getting ready for the baseball season. Everybody's all jacked up about it. This weekend's a little bit different, though. South Carolina will play George Washington. Always like it when you play a school named after a president. You kind of feel bad after you beat them if you're patriotic. But no, you've got George Washington playing South Carolina today. And that matchup, as we roll along here, we'll get you all the game times and everything else. But you've got the setup where the South Carolina baseball team will play George Washington today. And that first game, I think first pitch is at 4:00 today. It is at 4:00. Now Clemson will play Hartford, and I'm laughing because I wasn't aware that Hartford had a baseball team. Now they probably knowing me though, they'll probably have some crazy. Hartford had this player play for them. Anyway, the Tigers roll in at 4-0. They play Hartford today at 4:00. So the rundown here today is kind of a jump off into the baseball series that we have this weekend. But the interesting thing about that is that Clemson will play USC Upstate before their matchup with the Gamecocks next week. The Gamecocks, their midweek, will be Appalachian State on Tuesday before they start their series with Clemson at Founders Park next Friday. Then at Segra Park, the neutral site game will be right here in Columbia. We have a big, huge festival with that. All kinds of bands and games and everything else. First pitch for that game on that Saturday is at 4:00. But 4:00 games today for South Carolina and Clemson in baseball. If you want to call up and talk a little baseball, we can get into that. I have to tell you, though, I'm pretty sick of the Major League Baseball stuff. I mean, look, I can get people to sit down and agree on a lot of things, okay? And, I don't understand what the big deal is. There's going to be hatred around the world if we have any sort of look. We can deal without having spring training. We can do that. Okay, you don't have spring training, that's fine. We don't get to watch some spring training games on the internet, that's fine. But if they screw around and we miss any baseball this season, they're going to be cheering for steroids again. We got to have another home run chase. We got to have something to bring the people back. Because let's just be honest, Major League Baseball, you can make an argument that a lot of people don't really pay attention until the playoffs. I'm one of those guys that I'm going to watch every Braves game that I can possibly watch. Okay? I will not watch a Yankees game or a Red Sox game because I think they are cheaters and I don't watch them. I don't watch the Astros either. But I will watch every Braves game that I can. But if they're going to screw around and mess up the Major League season, I think people are going to leave and they're just not going to come back. All right, we'll take calls on that. Are you sick of the Major League Baseball talks? We can get into that. We can also get into the couple of other little things here that are in the mix. Vitaly and Vladimir Klitschko have said that they will fight for Ukraine, which is kind of interesting. Then you've got, we'll get into some bubble watch. Why South Carolina and Clemson essentially are ranked in the same spot in the net rankings. I don't get it. Let's see here. Papa Blake says South Carolina has absolutely zero chance to win at Tuscaloosa tomorrow. The New York Knicks couldn't beat Bama in Tuscaloosa with SEC officiating. You might be right about that. Speaking of which, the SEC made an announcement today that they are moving SEC Media Days. I think we knew it was going to be in Atlanta anyway. But yeah, it's not going to be in Atlanta. It's not going to be in Birmingham. They're going to move it to Atlanta this season. So yeah, there's that. It's kind of neat to have SEC media. All of the SEC stuff should be out of the state of Alabama. It just should. Have all of it in Atlanta, where most people will tell you, hey, that's a neutral site. I know that the Georgia Bulldogs are right down the road, but in reality, all of the SEC Media Days and all of that should be in Atlanta. Just like I think the ACC Media Day should be in Charlotte. I think they'll stay there. Same thing for the basketball tournament and everything else. Papa Blake says the baseball tournament needs to be out of Hoover. You know what? I don't have a problem with that. It seems like Hoover's in the middle of nowhere as far as the conference goes. You're not going to be able to pacify the folks from Mizzou and Texas A&M and all of that. But if everything's in Atlanta, you set up where everything is in Atlanta, I'm sure they could rent out Turner Field and play it there. Have the SEC tournament at Turner Field. The basketball tournament at Phillips Coliseum, wherever it is that the Hawks play. Have that there. Then you could do it in the Dome. Have the basketball tournament in the Dome. The Kentucky fans, they'll travel, they'll follow it. SEC Media Day should all be there too. Now, I know the folks in Alabama, SEC Media Days are supposed to be here, Rob. How am I not going to get to see Nick Saban in July? That's what's going to happen. So, shouldn't be that way. But the ACC is the same way. Have your basketball tournament at where the Hornets play, if you can maneuver around the schedule, and then work your way around. Have the baseball tournament at Knight Stadium there, and then the football game at Bank of America Stadium, and then move right on down the road. Ballard Sports Media says Birmingham has history, obviously, with SEC having something there. I don't care what, but don't leave it dry. Why? Why do we have to have it in Birmingham? Move your offices to Atlanta. I don't get what the problem is. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown. You know, we were talking earlier this week about Art Briles getting his first job in college football since the rape scandal, at Baylor. So it's interesting, though. Doug Williams told the Washington Post, and he's an ex-Tigers quarterback, of course, won the Super Bowl with the Redskins, said, I don't know Art Briles. I never met him in my life, but the situation, nobody else would hire him for whatever reason. I don't know why Grambling State had to go be the one to hire him, so I'm not a fan at all. Williams went on to say that he will no longer support the program as long as Briles remains on the staff. He also told the Post, oh, no, I can't do that. No. If I support them, I condone it. You know, congratulations to him on that. Put out there how you feel. Just let people react. Here's the thing. How many people are going to say, you know what? Maybe I should be on the side of Art Briles. Yeah, I don't see how that works out for anyone. But good for Doug Williams for standing up and saying, you know what? I'm not going to support the program. So there's that. All right. So we're looking forward to your calls today, too, at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. And we have to, if you want to join us here on the Rundown. Papa Blake says Birmingham has the officials and replay center. That should be out of there, too. The SEC officials are terrible. I'm sure that every SEC official, everyone out in the SEC, with the exception of Alabama and most likely Auburn, will tell you the SEC officials suck. They should fire all of them and then move to Atlanta and get new refs, get new officials. Just wipe the slate clean with that. Then you don't have that hanging over your head. And then people like Papa Blake over here, hey, you got new officials. Maybe they're just human. But I do think the SEC officiating is terrible. Terrible. All right, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. You know, I was doing some research last night, and a friend of the program, Terrence Oglesby, is going to be doing the play-by-play on the SoCon Championship coming up next week. And on the men's side, I haven't looked as much on the women's side, but on the men's side, as far as basketball goes, you have, I think, maybe two teams that could, maybe three in-state teams that could win their conference championship and go and represent the state in the NCAA tournament. as far as the smaller schools, not named South Carolina or Clemson. Clemson's done, by the way. South Carolina, if they don't win tomorrow, I think they're done. But the 3 teams, 2 of them are in the SoCon, Furman and Wofford, right there in the mix in the SoCon championship. And then you can make an argument for Coastal Carolina down in the PD there. But out of those 3, I wouldn't be shocked if all of them fell off, to be honest. I think Furman's pretty good. But after that, I'm not so sure. But it's frustrating, though, if you're a basketball fan and you see the basketball players that leave our state. And the young man from, from Blythewood, GG, I can't remember his last name. But, hey, at least he visited South Carolina. That's good. But you see the guys that have left. And I know that there's a story with each one, from John Morant to Zion Williamson to insert whatever here. For basketball in our state, we've got to get better with all that, man. We've got to be better than all that. We've got to get to a point where we keep some of these guys in state. Right now, it's just a mess. Bible Belt Beauty says South Carolina losing to Clemson should be enough to keep them out. Yeah. I mean, Clemson has 3 signature wins on the season. I mean, you can make an argument the South Carolina win. Although if you go back and you look at that, South Carolina had, I think they took 7, 8 players to Clemson that could actually play due to COVID. The other setup was, let's see here, Clemson beat Virginia at Virginia. No clue how that happened. Absolutely no clue. And then they went over Wake Forest. Wake Forest was missing 2 of their best players. So the Clemson basketball season is pretty terrible. I mean, you can't really pull out anything and say, you know what, maybe there's some hope here. Hope in what? It's probably going to be terrible next year too. Unless Brad Brownell hits the recruiting market and or the transfer portal and gets some more guys that can come in and fill some spots. The guards on Wednesday night, they won the game for Clemson. They showed out. But the guards haven't played well all season. Alamir Dawes was supposed to be the end-all, be-all, and he really hasn't played that well. Nick Honor, they list him at 5'11". He's probably 5'9". And the bigger ACC backcourts, they just back him down. And he can't do much with it. So Clemson basketball kind of in a rut. Let's go out to the phones, 803-978-1832. And welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on? It's Ballard Sports Media. How you doing, man?
Hey, buddy. What's up?
Not much. So you were just talking, and, I'm not going off on you or whatever, but basically what you were saying was they're trying to move everything for the SEC into Atlanta. Is that correct? Like basically like all the media days and everything, or what?
I said that I think that all of it should be in Atlanta because it's centrally located. They're not going to move it from Birmingham because that's not going to happen because Alabama's not going to allow that to happen, in my opinion. So, but no, I'm just being honest. I think it should all be in Atlanta. The ACC should be in Charlotte. The Big Ten should be in Chicago. I mean, we can go down the lines, however you want to do it.
Yeah. And I get that. I really don't care, but I mean, they kind of have taken, I think the SEC title game used to be in Birmingham. It used to be played at Legion Field. In my opinion, the way I look at it is leave something for Birmingham. Because Atlanta is a big time city, and I get that. Like all the offices, like you said, are over there, and Atlanta's got a lot of great stuff. The only thing really missing is a Super Bowl ring. But there's, I honestly, I really don't care where they have it. As long as it doesn't matter what location, but. Just in my opinion, I'm a little traditional with it. So, I'm sure all the older folks, I'm 20, but how you hear the older folks say I'm a traditionalist with sports and college football. This news has got to be having them spin their heads, right?
Well, they're having SEC Media Days this year in Atlanta, and they're probably doing that as I don't know why they're doing it. It doesn't make any, Papa Blake online says Birmingham has UAB. I completely agree with him on that. what does the SEC owe Birmingham? In the expanding world of college football, what does the fans and the people that cover Mizzou, Texas A&M, and we can talk about Texas and Oklahoma, what do they owe the people of Birmingham? Here's the thing: the SEC wants to call themselves they don't owe them anything, and the SEC wants to come off that they're the most elite conference in the history of the planet. How about go somewhere where there's a major airport when you have your media days? That way, everybody can come in and be able to cover your
bigger crowd.
Yeah, that's the way that it should be. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, and again, like I said, like I'm not disagreeing. If they move media days out of Birmingham, you're going to have two people. Well, really, there's always in this situation, there's three types of people. There's number one, the people that are like, yes, bring it home. Because there's going to be people like in the state of like Georgia fans would love nothing more than to be able to go to Atlanta every year and hear Kirby Smart speak in Atlanta, right? They would love that. You got others that are like,
I kind of agree with you on that, but I know some Georgia fans that won't step foot in Atlanta unless they absolutely have to. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. So, I mean, you'll have like three different types of people. You'll have the people that are dying to go to Atlanta for some weird reason. You'll have the people that are going to lose their minds because they're older folks and they're traditionalists and we shouldn't move it out of Birmingham. And then you got someone like me, and I'll tell you where I fit in this category. I'm right there in the middle. Quite honestly, I really don't care where you have it as long as we're keeping track on schedule. If you want to take SEC media days to the freaking Caribbean island or something, I don't care. Just have media days. Why does location and everything? I mean, there's a lot of great big cities out there. Atlanta, Charlotte, you mentioned, I think, for like the ACC title game or whatever. You got Birmingham, of course, Houston, Texas. I mean, I don't care. Just have it. I mean, people get so...
Look, and once again, I'm not railing the SEC for this. I'm just saying I think it would be better for everyone if you have it in a big, huge city like Atlanta, if you're, you know, trying to come off like you're a big, huge conference. So quickly, Tom says online, I'll never forgive Birmingham for running out of pizza before kickoff on a record cold Papa John's bowl loss. Yeah, how the hell do you run out of pizza and the bowl game is named after a pizza? I don't get it.
I don't know.
All right, man. I got to go to a break. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man.
All right, there you go. More of the rundown when we come back. As Tom, that might be the comment of the week, Tom. Very good, sir. Very good. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. You got me there, Tom. Good stuff, sir. Well, I mean, I think having everything where you know that all of the SEC stuff runs out of one city. That's the way that it should be. I don't think the SEC has anything to prove. I think you're mistaking me here, Nick. I'm just thinking that they should move the media days. They've already said they're moving this year's to Atlanta. We'll just keep it there. That's why we're talking about it. And the SEC doesn't have anything to prove. I mean, there's only two really good football teams there. And I know that's what everybody hinges on. Oh, my God, the SEC is the best ever. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You have two great teams and a bunch of sevens, okay? Maybe 4 or 5 sevens, and then you got a bunch of 4s. I'm not going to sit here and think that Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Mizzou, and all that are national powers and that they wear you out every week, and that's why the SEC is the toughest schedule in the history of the planet. It's not true. It's an absolute total lie. People that believe that, I can't even stomach it. It's just like, I can't believe we breathe the same air. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. We're going to talk some basketball here in a moment. I wanted to throw this story out because this was kind of interesting. Hall of Fame boxers Vitaly and Vladimir I can't even say it correctly. Vladimir Klitschko planned to fight for the Ukraine. Man, you hate to hear the wars going on over there, but oof. Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko, is the mayor of Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. He became a mayor in 2014, as well as head of the Kyiv City State Administration. He was a guy that, as far as being a heavyweight, a big, massive guy. They're going to go out and fight for the Ukraine. That's pretty insane. Tom says, are they shutting down PJ Hall for the rest of the year? Was that the Wake Forest game in person? They look much better because they don't just force feed PJ for offensive production. You can make an argument for that. And one thing that you could say, all right, Clemson does have a little bit better if they go small with Hunter, and then they'll have Nick Honor and then Alamir Dawes, and letting him run the floor a little bit. They might have done better with that. But I think PJ Hall he's the best player on the team. They are talking about, I was on the press conference, the Zoom conference the other day with Coach Brownell, and he said that, and I remember because I wrote this down, he said, yeah, he wants to play, but his x-ray's negative, and then, of course, he just didn't play. So I don't know what PJ Hall earns playing out the rest of the season. I mean, especially if there's really an issue with his foot, go and get ready for summer ball, in my opinion. So, but yeah, we'll see how that works out for the Clemson basketball team. All right, so South Carolina has won 4 straight SEC games, and the net rankings have South Carolina, I think, at 88, and Clemson is at 92. I think if South Carolina played Clemson at full strength, both teams at full strength, I think South Carolina would win 7 out of 10 games. So I'm beginning to wonder these net rankings. I understand they put in who you beat and everything else, but South Carolina right now looks more like a tournament team than Clemson does. But they're ranked essentially the same spot in the net rankings, which is what the NCAA tournament committee uses to determine who's going to get at-large bids. Right now, both are technically on the outside looking in. But here's the big thing with that, though. When you see those net rankings and they're not going up, South Carolina, I said they needed to win 2 out of 3 from the rest of the season. If they really want to be really solid and off the bubble, passing through the bubble and be within the tournament, they probably should try to win all 3. So, in fact, Joe Lunardi's latest bubble watch for the SEC has, let's get to the SEC folks here because I printed all of them. The SEC has locks are Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, a team that South Carolina beat, and Arkansas, 2 teams that, quote, have work to do. The Florida Gators, and who had the big win over Auburn, and then you have Mississippi State, who you thought, okay, South Carolina handled them at home. They should move into that spot. They're essentially the same record. I don't know, but they don't even list South Carolina in the bubble watch. So South Carolina, in my opinion, they need to win at Alabama this weekend and get that win over Mizzou next week. Mizzou, shout out to our friends from the Mazodcast. I listened to their stuff, and everything is they want to fire Conzo Martin so bad up there, but Mizzou is just not very good. And South Carolina, I don't know if they can square up and play with Alabama, but I think I like their chances of beating Alabama better than Auburn, in my opinion. But if they get to, if they beat Alabama, I think they can beat Mizzou, and then they'll figure out where they are with Auburn. Papa Blake says every game Mississippi State loses is a bubble popping. Very good, sir. All right, let's go out to the phones and welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Rob, it is Megan.
Hey, you got out of the monastery. Congratulations.
I did. Hey, listen, you and I have sparred. We've joked with one another. I'm not doing that today. I'm coming before you with my hat in my hand with a humble heart.
All right. What are you
I,
so humble about?
well, I need some info.
Sure.
I've got a nephew who is near and dear to me, and he is actually graduating high school here in the next couple of months. And I wanted some info from you. You're sort of somewhat in the sports media, and that's what he's interested in. How much is tuition at the Danny Cannell College of SEC haterism these days? Out of state.
Oh goodness, I don't know, but I don't imagine that I don't imagine that you would let him go there anyway when he could go to the fine Florida school that has a wonderful program and try to win the Red Barber Award. You should research that and
Rob,
send him there, and then maybe he can get a great education and be a great great sportscaster.
more buffoonery from your mouth. But anyway, I
Oh,
digress.
hold on. Excuse me, sir. Hold on. Slow down. Are you implying that Red Barber is not an award-winning broadcaster and how everyone should try to want to be Red Barber? Is that what you're saying to me?
Are you implying that the SEC only has 2 good football programs? Is that what you
Yep.
just said?
Every year it's just 2. Yep. I'm not going to sit here and think that Mizzou and everyone else is kind of right there in the mix of being just this great program. Sorry. I'm sorry if that hurt your
Every
feelings,
time,
but
every time I think you've turned the corner and that we've all beaten some sense into you, you pull one of
man,
these shows.
you just wait. You wait until it gets hot. It gets hot outside, and then I start reading some more because I don't want to go out in the heat. I sit by the pool a little bit and I read some of the just buffoonery that's put out there by all of these SEC apologists that think that the SEC teams should be ranked 1 to 14 as this is the best football that's in the history of the world. Just wait, man. Summertime is going to be fun with you. You may have a stroke running around this heat, hearing some of the stuff I'm going to put out there.
First of all, if I was a man of your proportions, I would avoid heat at all costs as well, sir.
Okay.
Which brings me to my next point.
Sure.
Yesterday's show, did you actually say that with a shaved head you look like a thumb? Did
Yeah.
that come out of your mouth?
I did.
Okay. Well, you know what? I give you credit for that, sir.
I did say that. No, you asked me. I try to be honest, and I did say if you shave my head, I look like a giant thumb.
If you gave me a month, I couldn't come up with something more accurate, sir. So touche.
Well, fair enough.
I appreciate the yeah. But listen, give me 2 great teams in the ACC. Football now.
That's the point. I can't. I can give you one. I think Clemson's the best
Right.
program in the ACC. But the SEC thinks they're so much better because they have 2. And in reality, it's just not, I mean, Texas A&M ducked Wake Forest. Wake Forest was going to mop the floor with them this year. They were going to have Jimbo eating corn cobs off that belt buckle that he's running around with. I mean, seriously.
And you can say that with a straight face.
I'm saying it with an absolute straight face. They avoided them. They didn't want anything to do with Wake Forest. The last time they played Wake Forest hung a double nickel on them. They don't want anything to do with that. Don't want anything to do with it. Are you going to defend Texas A&M? Are you going to sit here and say, you know what? I have to defend Texas A&M because they're in the SEC and I have to do that? Why don't you just stick to your Georgia Bulldogs and just tell me, Rob, I have Georgia. We're great. Kirby Smart's great. You had to say Kirby Smart's great. We won the national title. And why don't you just shut the hell up, Rob? And I'll just be like, all right, thanks, Megan. I'll shut the hell up. You won the national title. Don't defend Texas A&M. You're better than that, sir. Absolutely better than that. You're going to try to defend an 8-win joke on my program, and you're going to expect me to sit back and just sit here and say, oh, they were great. He hasn't been good since Jameis, the crab leg stealer, was with him. But you're talking about, oh, they would beat Wake Forest. Wake Forest would smoke them all over the planet. But go ahead. Go to the Georgia stuff. You're better with that. You're better with the Georgia stuff. Just Georgia is good. Go ahead and say it. Georgia's good. Everything else is bad. Say that. That's where you're at.
I'm thinking about your upbringing. Like I'm sure you're apparently a well-rounded guy. Your parents had such high hopes for you at one point,
they
and now
did. I'm a classic underachiever.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Yeah.
I tuned you out about 45 seconds ago when you said Wake Forest would mop the floor with Texas A&M.
Georgia is good. Everyone else is
Yeah.
bad. Use that.
Okay.
That's your talking point. I'm helping you out here. Georgia's
And,
good.
and to have the
Georgia's
gall, and I'm talking about yesterday's show, to even bring up the bookcase of accountability, which,
Yep.
sir, I've gone through the archives. We will have further discussion on the bookcase of accountability as the summer lingers on here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I will go toe to toe with you on that bookcase of account. Not to sound like Joe Biden there, by the way, guys. My record versus your record on that same bookcase, it's not even close. It's ACC versus SEC type record here. And you've got the gall to bring it up, Rob. I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of where this program has divulged.
I'm making you your own bookcase of accountability. I said that. It's going to be a giant trash can. I'm going to put your face on it. And then I might Photoshop Hollywood's face next to yours. That way you two can be together, because neither one of you really have a clue about anything. We can call you the Bobbsey twins.
Hollywood's the only guy on earth who is wrong more often than you, Rob.
Sure.
I want you to think about that. Let that settle in.
Are you gonna say to me, hey, Georgia won the national title? I mean, come on, man. That's what you should be. I know that you're not used to this because you're just hoping Georgia's not a one-hit wonder like LSU, basically. But hey, that's what you should lead with every single show. Why are you not doing that? I don't understand.
Because it falls into your little silly trap there, Rob.
I don't understand. Hold on. I've even saved this for you. It's right here. Look, I've got Alabama saying that Georgia wins the national title. Look, just for you and for everyone else.
That is the end of the ball game. Final score, Georgia 33, Alabama 18.
Please don't wreck your car when you hear that. I know that just does major league things for you, like having a 10-star blonde sitting in the back for you. But that's what you should lead with every call. Don't call up defending Texas A&M. Don't do that. It's not good for you.
Just one request. Can you play that one more time?
Absolutely. Here you go. Or do you want the Georgia call or the Alabama call? I've got them both. Which one do you want?
Give me the Georgia call.
All right, the Georgia call, just for the Georgia fans. Georgia fans, when you call the show, all you have to do is say, we won the national title, and until somebody knocks us off, that's what we should go with, instead of, I'm going to defend Texas A&M. Just remember this.
4th and 12 at the Georgia 47. The final second ticks away. And how of an appropriate ending is that? We sack Young on the last play of the game. Dogs are winners. A national championship for a new generation of Bulldogs. How about that? Final score, 33-18. The slipper changes feet, and Georgia is crowned the national champion for the first time in 41 years.
I question your fandom calling up here defending Texas A&M, sir. You should be nothing but Bulldogs and running around with your Stetson Bennett jersey, stapled to you and everything else. But maybe you're a Texas A&M fan.
As you played that call, I could tell you what it does to me, but it's not friendly for the airwaves. So we'll leave that alone.
Have a great weekend, sir.
43-18.
Have a great night. Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Beck and Megan joining the program. He's dumb, but he does know some things, just not much about football. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, I don't understand why Georgia fans just run their mouths and I've got to defend SEC program here. You're the best team in college football. Just stop it. It's ridiculous. Jimmy agrees with me. He is begging back into men's clothes yet. Stand by. That's funny. Well, drive carefully there, Mayhem Matthew. I don't want you getting into, a wreck or whatever. Just try to stay safe on the roads, man. Goodness gracious. Wake Forest did all right. Tom, I hope that Gigi Jackson decides to, is it Jackson? Yeah, I hope he decides to stay in state. Go to South Carolina, man. That would be the best thing for him, man, to be honest with you. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Short segment here because Megan would not shut up. It's like I have to talk him down all the time. But anyway, quick note here. Former Gamecock, former Miami Dolphin, friend of the program, Corey Jenkins, has been announced that he will take over the Dreer program. He's going to go over there to Dreer and run their football program. So congrats to Corey Jenkins, who, man, what a great player he was. And we appreciate the time he spent with us here on the program. We've had him on, I think 2 or 3 times, but great guy. So we like him. So good stuff. And I know he's going to lead Dreer to some great stuff. And the best part is that, Corey's getting up there in age a little bit, but if you go in the gym and work out with him, he'll probably outwork half those kids in the gym. He's twice their age. So there's that too. 803-978-1832. Megan in the chat room says, oh, by the way, count me as one of the millions of Georgia fans who won't step foot in Atlanta. There you go. See, people thought I was just running my mouth about that and I was just making things up. No, there's a lot of people that don't want to go to Atlanta that are Georgia fans. Dead serious on that. That's real. I've had several Georgia fans tell me that. I'm not going to Atlanta. If I go for the SEC championship game, I don't even stay the night there. I pay the big money to park so I can leave. And that's just the way that it is. So, yeah. Courtney says AC Floor is the king of football on that side of town. Shout out to Perry Orth. Yeah, AC Floor is great. I've called baseball games for the Flora baseball program as they are outstanding. But I believe in Corey Jenkins. Just talking with him and working out with him and getting to know him. He's solid, a solid dude. Now, if he gets some guys over there that can play, Dreer's going to be all right. Dreer used to be, back in the Teddy Hefner days. Of course, Teddy does 9 to noon here. Teddy was I think their fullback, and he probably played fullback and center together, just mowing people over, hand the ball off to himself. Anyway, but no, Dreer was great right there in the heart of downtown Columbia. So we'll see how that works out. All right. So quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's episode of the rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app as we're getting set up for the weekend. Here we go. Gamecock baseball, 4:00 today. Clemson baseball, 4:00 today. Gamecocks are playing George Washington. Clemson's playing Hartford, and it's not hockey. More of the rundown in just a moment. Tom, I've had Corey Jenkins on. Who else have I had on the program that has been Gamecock faithful? Long time ago, I had BJ Mackey on. I'm going to work to get some more Gamecock guys just for you there, Tom. I'll tell you what, Tom, you follow me on Twitter. I'll get some Gamecock folks if you'll retweet my that I'm going to have them on the program. I'll start researching a little bit. I had Jeff Barnes on the show. Who else did I have? I had lots of Gamecocks that have been on the show. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I'll start booking some folks, man. Message me who you want. I'll try to track them down. I want some of the baseball players. I've had Kip Bucknight on the show. That counts, right? Or is it just football that you want? Final segment of the rundown this afternoon on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Appreciate everybody joining the program this week. We've had some good stuff. We've had some bad stuff this week. We had Second Chance Day, which was Wednesday, talking about who would you rather have, Deshaun Watson or Art Briles. At this point, it looks like Deshaun Watson may take the lead there. Someone actually tweeted at me something about, I'll take Art Briles because he's older and he's probably going to die soon. Thank you for that. Shout out to Carolina Jackpot, one of my favorite folks. He says, George Washington equals an Atlantic 10 blue blood. I guess that they're just an outstanding baseball program. I don't know. I don't know much about George Washington. We'll have to see on that. Hold on. Let's look up George Washington alumni, and we can see who's famous that went to George Washington. Alumni. There we go. So, George Washington University famous alumni. Okay, here's who they've got. So, a recent U.S. Attorney General, 4 current heads of state government. In business, there's lots of folks that I don't know, so I'm not even going to try to mention them to you. Let's look and see if they've got the sports section here. They don't have a sports section. It just says, let's go to others. Roger Stone, Barbara Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, honorary doctor of public service degree. So yeah, there's some folks that are there. They have a heavy Republican lean there, I guess. Oh, here you go with athletics. All right, Abe Pollin, owner of the Washington Wizards. David Haggerty, current president of the International Tennis Federation. Elena Myers, a medalist at the Winter Olympics. Does not tell me which sport. Oh, here we go. Red Auerbach, coach for the Boston Celtics. There you go. Doesn't tell me much about their baseball team. Well, you know. Oh, here's some other guys. Abe Pollin, Jerry Reinsdorf, owner of the Bulls and the White Sox. Okay. David Haggerty, current president of the, we said that one already. I mean, yeah, they look like a blue blood program there, Jackpot. I don't know much about their baseball team, but we can Google that. But South Carolina will play their matchup today with George Washington. Do they call him just G-Dub? I mean, I'd feel awkward saying that if I were doing play-by-play for that game. I wouldn't call them G-Dub. I'd feel like I was disrespecting George Washington. Don't want to do that. He had wooden teeth, so he can knock mine out and then laugh with his wooden teeth. Anyway, no, but when I step back, though, I think it's all getting geared up for next week for both South Carolina and Clemson. I'd be shocked if South Carolina and Clemson didn't sweep their way through these series this weekend. And both teams come into South Carolina plays App State next week. Clemson's got USC Upstate. I think that both teams will go into the rivalry series. Clemson will be 8-0. South Carolina will be 7-1. There you go. I think that's what's going to happen. Here's some other picks for you for the weekend. I think South Carolina and Alabama will play tomorrow. And you know what? The more and more I watch South Carolina play, I'm going to give you a stat here. If South Carolina is +10 on the rebounding side against Alabama, they're going to win at Alabama. That's the key for South Carolina. Got to win the rebounding title for that game. And they can beat Nate Oates in Alabama. They really can. They're going to have to, deal with the pressure and the fact that they run all over the place. Also, the turnover margin is going to be huge too, because Alabama does turn the ball over a little bit. So there's that. The SEC champion women's basketball team, I think they've got a matchup this weekend, but I think they're pretty much done as they're getting ready for tournament time next week. As far as Clemson goes, I think they'll lose this weekend. I don't think that they're going to be able to. I think it was a lot of smoke and mirrors is what they won with on Wednesday. So there's that. Couple of things that you can look forward to on the weekend. Sweeps for both baseball teams. Calling it right now. We'll see how that works. If Clemson loses a game to Hartford, I mean, the Whalers left there, for goodness sake. It's the only thing I remember about Hartford. So they can't be losing to Hartford. So there's that. All right, so next week on the program, we'll look at we'll start getting geared up for that rivalry series. Whatever comes our way on the football front, we'll definitely talk about that. We're going to start talking about where certain players are going to be drafted. And I'm looking at the draft, all the mock draft boards. I wouldn't be surprised if the first 8 picks of the draft are all defense. By the way, there was a report out there that the Carolina Panthers called about Kirk Cousins up with Minnesota. Like, the Panthers are just hurting for a quarterback. Just hurting for a quarterback. I mean, I don't know if I want to go to Kirk Cousins and make him the guy. I mean, have they given up on Sam Darnold? Darnold's like 24, I think, 25. They're already telling him, yeah, you're a failure. Get the hell out of here. We went and paid Cam Newton millions of dollars to come play the last couple of games and lose them for us. But, yeah, there's that too on that front. Where are the Panthers going to draft? I don't think there's a quarterback that they want. Panthers are a mess right now. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That's the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. As we get set up for the weekend, you got a NASCAR race this weekend. Folks that are into that. Yeah, all kinds of good stuff to watch this weekend. We're not that far off from the Masters, too, as it starts heating up outside a little bit. Going to have the pollen we're dealing with here shortly, too. Ugh. Don't want to deal with all that. All right, still got time for calls at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. The ACC, we'll look at the bubble watch really quick before we get out of here. Locks for the ACC are just the Duke Blue Devils. Should be in Wake, Notre Dame, work to do, Miami, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. They think that Lenardi thinks they're all on the quote-unquote need some work to do stuff there. In the SEC, I think I gave you the majority of those earlier, but Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, Arkansas, and they have Florida and Mississippi State as teams that have some work to do. You know, I look at there's another team, too, that I think is in the mix, and that would be Rick Pitino's Iona team. And 22-5, 5 games remaining to be played. They won a neutral floor matchup over Alabama. He says if the Gales were to win the rest of the way, would that add up to an at-large profile? We might get to find out. Rick Pitino's team is indeed favored in each of its remaining contests. Running that table isn't a foregone conclusion, but if it happens, if this scenario occurs, it's possible Iona's net ranking will have slightly risen by the time from where it is now in the high 70s. Some observers have gone as far as to write off this team's chances, but they're still hanging around. That's a team that in the tournament, if they get the right matchup, they can win a game, maybe two. Your casual friends that don't know much about college basketball probably don't know that Rick Pitino is coaching at Iona, and they play like their butt is on fire all the time. They are a really solid basketball team. So there you go. Free tip for you when you start filling out your bracket. That's one team you got to look at. All right. So don't forget, my buddy Lawton Swan is next. We've had a good week of shows. Appreciate you guys checking them out. Podcast is up as always. It's been moving up here lately. More people getting tuned into the show. You can check out the show wherever you want on the podcast feed, however you get your favorite podcast. My buddy Lawton Swan is next. He is the czar of Clemson sports. Be sure to follow him on Twitter at Clemson Sports.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. We will be back with you on Monday. This is the rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys are awesome. Thanks for checking us out this week. Good luck with your baseball teams this weekend. We'll see you later on, all right?